Hey guys, Steven here, Fanatic Perspective. Happy Friday. Big weekend of sports coming up. Excited to discuss. Got the Jake Paul, Mike Tyson fight tonight. Can't believe it's 2024 and I'm saying that. But that is tonight here in Arlington, Texas. So might go see if I can get a last minute ticket or something and maybe go watch a 60-year-old Mike Tyson against YouTube legend Jake Paul. Who knows? We'll see. Um, we got Texas looking to go belt to ass this week against Arkansas. Big rival. Uh, we've said it since we played them in 2021, looking to get revenge. Now in the SEC, they're on the list. Let's not get any. Um, let's not get any confusion about that. I mean, it's a big game. Just where we're at in November, what we're looking to see consistency wise from this football team, what we want to see, because a lot of and look, I said my piece earlier this week on Bleacher Report regarding the allegations of Texas not playing anybody, but at the end of the day, over the last couple years, y'all have seen a lot of these dudes play football at a very high level against very good competition. We know that this is about Texas and how even the Georgia game. Okay. You want to go back and talk about that game and whatever the outcome was and how that game played out. When Texas plays their brings their A game, I should say, offensively, defensively, and even special teams, which has been a struggle. They are one of the best teams, if not the best team in the country, the most complete team and the deepest team. When you look at who the NFL likes, it's a bunch of Texas dudes all over the classes, right? We're not even just talking about 2025. We're talking about down through guys like Anthony Hill. So this team is super freaking talented. People are going to throw stones when Texas is now shown to be consistently good over multiple seasons. That's to be expected, okay? We are a very hated brand, and people are going to make shit up to force narrative. So that is what it is. But for us that watch this team and know what good looks like and know some of the struggles we had, especially when the quarterback wasn't healthy and there were a lot of question marks in between the buys and all these type of things. We know what Texas looks like when they're on point and how dangerous they are. We want to see that though, right? And that's what they can control. They can control that narrative. You can keep beating the shit out of people, and you go through and you make it to the SEC championship game, and then you stand on business. That's all they can do. But they got to continue to control those things. So, talking about the game matchups, look, the injury report is interesting if you look at it from an Arkansas standpoint of who hasn't been playing that will all of a sudden be available tomorrow in Fayetteville, which I affectionately call Vietnam. So, what's up, folks? Yes, yes, yes. Mr. Wisner is BTA. We know what time it is. We know what time it is. Quinn saying, I'm assuming you're talking about Tyson, brother. I hope he didn't die. This is gonna be fun. This is gonna be fun. Yeah, and just talking with you guys. Sports fan Jack, what's up? What's up? What's up? Marlon. I know I told you I was going live today, brother. Marlon been checking in on me since the KFC Pepsi incident the other day. Brothers are okay. We are okay. Yes, it's time to get, we about to have some pulled pork sandwiches down in Fayetteville. Some divine swine. Cause we know how to barbecue that ass. What's up, Trent? Tyson going belt to ass, Texas going belt to ass, Lions going belt to ass. My weekend is golden. God bless you, brother. What's up, man? Good to see you. Trent is beautiful. New bride, Jamie. Had a chance to see them get married. I'm excited for my boy. There's a chance Texas will play LSU in the SEC title game. Georgia has to win tomorrow. Arkansas has to win against Missouri, assuming we and LSU win out. There's a lot of possibilities, especially considering There's only 3 teams remaining that have one loss in the SEC, us, A&M, and Tennessee. Tennessee is going to Athens, Georgia tomorrow. That is a huge game. We do not know right now. I have the SEC injury report here on a screen if anybody wants to see it. As of right now, we do not know the availability of Nico. So to me, I mean, we covered that on our show this morning on Bleacher Report. That's a big deal, right? Share this out so we can take a look collectively at the injury report. All right. So as we look through here, this is actually our injury report, by the way. So as you can see, I mean, in terms of surprise, I mean, Bassick and Blackwell, nobody else even listed. There's no other questionables here. So Texas is relatively clean. And then for Arkansas, Braylon Russell, who did not finish the Ole Miss game, is probable. Taylon Green, dynamic quarterback. I saw a question about Taylon Green earlier. We will talk about that. He is probable. And former Texas Longhorn Jaquindon Jackson, who has not played since the LSU game. So it's been a month since Jaquindon's been out there. He is also probable. And Jaquindon, that's again, former, at the time he was at Texas, he was a quarterback. We're going to have an opportunity to play him. Former Duncanville All-Star. He also has 10 touchdowns on the season. So through October 19, he had already put up some pretty serious numbers. He was well on his way to 1,000 yards rushing before his injury. So he is showing probable as well. So we're getting a relatively healthy Arkansas team tomorrow at 11 a.m. But going to, if we go to, let's see here, the Georgia, Tennessee's. Yeah, so Nico's still questionable for Tennessee tomorrow. That's a big one. That's a big one to pay attention to. But I'll stop sharing there just for us to discuss. What's up, Joshua Hornsby? Appreciate you. Absolutely. Good time to be live. Let's see. Is Green the best? I'm assuming you mean QB we face all season. Nah, I would say Diego Pavia. Diego Pavia is the best quarterback we've seen so far. The Vanderbilt quarterback, which we dealt with. Right, his at first we had to make an adjustment. He used his legs, got outside, got a touchdown early on us. But we really did a great job of corralling him and his creativity. Diego right now is a better quarterback than Taylon Green. And we did not see Lagway at all. The other one would be obviously Carson Beck at Georgia, who has been just spiraling down, trending down. And he didn't have a touchdown against us. We turned him over multiple times. We know that game we were offensively challenged, and that one falls in their lap in terms of why we didn't get it done, as well as special teams. But from a quarterback standpoint, this is what I will say for the Texas defense, though. I do think, especially early in this game, our run defense and how much we've improved and the strides we've made under Kenny Baker, the depth we've developed up front, as well as Anthony Hill has been playing. Anthony Hill's given us fantastic linebacker play. I think he's 80-plus grade overall for the season at backer. We've had a lot of conversations on the channel about Leano Leifau's snaps versus David Benda's snaps. We see that Blackwell's, probably not going to play tomorrow. So that combination there up front, just our run fits in general, that will be tested tomorrow. Okay. Arkansas is like a basketball team on grass in a lot of ways, but they just got big. Braylon Green, true freshman, 6'1", 253. Jaquindon's 6'2", 233. Taylon Green is 6'6", 230 and can run about 4. Now, I don't know how healthy Taylon is in terms of his legs, but he's healthy enough to at least, you have to you have to have your keys in place, right? We've seen some of these teams completely fall apart against mobile quarterbacks when they don't have any type of discipline. But some of the better teams that have had success against Arkansas recently, most recently Ole Miss, their defensive line. Now, granted, they were really banged up a couple weeks ago, but Ole Miss's defensive line just said we're not having it, and that's a very, very good group. And I think our group has come a long way. I think we have the right edges to really give them fits. I mean, this is a game where I think right off the bat, personnel wise, Trey Moore, Colin Simmons, where you're probably going to need a little bit more speed on the edge. I look for those guys to have some big moments. We still have Barron Sorrell playing really good football. We still have, Ethan Burke out there with his inside leverage of, throwing him around three technique. Alfred Collins there. So I think the combination of guys we have up front, this is a test that we should pass well and force Arkansas into having to throw the ball down the field and get aggressive and play from behind. That's where you want to be. You don't want to be in a situation where it's 7-3 or they're running the ball well on our offense. Let's say our offense is scoring, but they're able to run the ball and gash us. We've gotten there. We've come a long way from where the concerns were. I know some people have concerns off the Florida game, even though we played a lot of backups. So that will be tested. And I expect Arkansas to bring their A game. It's a rivalry. They hate Texas. They could care less about that Ole Miss game as long as they beat Texas. And if they get embarrassed by Texas, let's also go the other side. If Texas goes down there and whoops their ass and they go stand on business, Jade Barron, Jake Majors, like people that were there in 2021 and that were part of Fright Night and want to get that get back in the same building, they gonna fire Sam Pittman. Forget Arkansas playing for a bowl game. If Texas goes and whips that ass, that will get the coach fired, especially with people coming back. Mark my words on that. Clay Jefferson, thank you for the super chat. Really appreciate it. Been following you since year one under Sark. Oh, look at us. Look how far we've come. You've always been able to hype me up, talk me off ledges, and educate me. Appreciate you, Steve. Belt to ass, hook 'em. Hey, great message. Thank you, Jefferson. It means a lot. I learn from you guys as much as y'all learn from me. I know I'm the talking head on the screen at times, but it's therapeutic for me as well. Because if we handle things the right way in the tough times, it makes the fun times even better. It's been a lot of fruitful moments this season. Let's be honest. I mean, it's fun to be a Texas fan right now. Back-to-back outstanding seasons. And keep in mind, the last era of the 14 playoff, we made it, right? We won the Big 12. We went out on top in that regard. And coming into the SEC, no matter what people say about that, getting off to a tremendous start in this conference as well. The recruiting that is happening. Shout out to brother Bean out there who've been keep me up to speed and high on some of the recruits and the visits and some of the work being done behind the scenes, not just for this 2025 class, but for 2026 class and beyond. There's a heck of a lot of momentum, not just in the state of Texas recruiting, but in the state of Louisiana for us recruiting, and the state of Florida for us recruiting, taking advantage of Florida and Florida State being down right now, but also the relationships that guys like Tashard Choice have, guys like Jeff Banks have, volume recruiters in those regions who are getting it done and just evangelizing Texas throughout the South and the SEC conference. People talk about A&M getting their recruiting bump when they joined the conference 12 years ago. Texas, we're here and we're starting. We've been getting kind of the fruits of that bump as well, right? And I think that's part of the animosity from A&M folks of not just being the only school in Texas soil in the SEC anymore, but also the way that college football has changed in general with NIL and the opportunities that can present themselves where it's not so tight regionally anymore. Texas has gone out. I mean, look what we've done in the state of Arizona. Some of our best Longhorns like Bijan Robinson coming from that state. So we are doing, when you combine all of these things, it's really, really fun right now to be a Texas fan. Tyson can't go outside. I know. I feel like this is also like the Mike Tyson thing tonight is kind of a generational thing. Unless just, I mean, I don't know how Gen Z feels about Jake Paul. I mean, he's obviously super, super popular and has built a brand. And I'm going to talk about later from a boxing standpoint what this means. I know some traditional boxing fans don't count this. Some people will. Some people think that this whole thing is staged. It's on Netflix. I don't trust Netflix with not live events anyway. I mean, there's a lot of nuance and discussion here of what could be a potential culture changing moment tonight, considering the eyeballs that will be on AT&T Stadium between Mike Tyson and Jake Paul. Steven, you've seen all the belts at the game. You started the movement, man. We've been on that for a minute since the beginning of the season, Sam. Since the beginning of the season. Marlon said JQJ would have been nice in our running back room right now. Look, the running backs, all things considered, had a much better game against Florida. Okay. Obviously Travion Wisener had a big touchdown via the air. I think he's being used in the role that he should be being used in, more of a wide zone runner, more of a pass catching running back. Jaden Blue, who I talked about on Bleach Report this week, I think he's a big key, not just in this game, but for the rest of the season, because he's kind of ramping into more of a role of more touches. As people had super high expectations for Jaden Blue, and then some of the fumbles happened, some of the injuries happened, he got banged up, he wasn't breaking off some runs, and then next thing you know, we overcorrect, and he doesn't get a carry against Georgia, even though he had a big game in the air. Trying to find these roles for these guys. Jared Gibson, obviously, our best between the tackles runner, runs with a purpose. He's got that hammer feel that you're looking for, but there's ball security issues. Can you trust him? Shard Choice is one thing he will not tolerate is ball security issues. So can you trust? I mean, we trusted him early in the year when we went to Michigan, in a hostile environment, before we knew anything about these teams. So I think that's going to be something to take a very, very look at. Not just who plays from the running back room, but how they're used. That's somewhere where we got to a really good place last year, especially when Jonathan Brooks was healthy. We had all of our diamond formation stuff with Keelan. Jaden Blue was getting worked in. CJ Baxter was a full-time back because he could do everything. So we had a really, really good rotation, but also feel for the usage of their game and where they would fit in within game flow. That is still a work in progress right now because they're also holding guys accountable when they make mistakes. So they got to play clean ball. Everybody. Yeah. It's a big group, but this is not the best group of receivers we've seen either. We've seen some better receivers so far this year in terms of overall groups and whatnot. But we got to be on our P's and Q's of how they look to operate. Bobby Petrino, he still has my respect as a play caller and play designer, and he's going to have some stuff dialed up for us. Trust me on that. They put up points. Even in that Ole Miss game, they still put up 31 points, even though they almost gave up 100. My thing is just this is a team, to me, where you come in there in that environment, and I know it's 11 a.m., but it's still going to be raucous. I think you try to jump these guys. I think this is a Sark game where you try to get up 14-0. You try to establish some margin so that also protecting the mental of your team, right? Of hey guys, this is not what it was 3 years ago, okay? And really pass that test. Dan is nervous about the Texas run defense. Not worried about the secondary. They're killing it this year. Got to give Blake Gideon and Terry Joseph their props. Absolutely. Are we good on Terry Joseph now? Especially if a guy from his room and Johnny Barron wins the Thorpe, and the guy that I mean, because right now, if I'm biased, but he would have my vote for the Thorpe Award. Jade Barron would. Either him or Travis. I give it to Jade. But um, I think Terry Joseph is safe if considering the corner. I mean, Manny Muhammad's been really, really good this year. Look, I've been really critical of these two coaches. And their groups have been not only have their groups been productive, but they're recruiting well, in my opinion. Kobe Black has come along. I see Wardell Mack has developed. We lost Derek Williams, but Jelani McDonald has been playing a lot of snaps and has been looking very capable back there. We know Andrew Makuba trusted us to come back home, knowing his NFL development is on the line. We've been good with him on the field and with him being injured and out. I got to give Blake Gideon and Terry Joseph their flowers. I do also think that Johnny Nansen is an internal whisperer in terms of overall connecting the defense and what PK, especially what PK wants to do up front. I think Johnny Nansen is the collective glue that was missing once we lost Gary Patterson. I think Gary Patterson came and got them speaking the same language as a staff, because we got to remember Joseph and Gideon and them had never worked with PK and vice versa. So they had to get on the same page from a methodology standpoint of how they wanted to play defense. And when they have what they want, first off, understanding what they want, and then once they have what they want and how they want to run it, I think it's very clear now with Johnny Nansen, we're going to play coverage. We're going to be really good with our front four. And we're going to have linebackers that can fly, so that when we want to get exotic and blitz with our nickel or our backers, those options are available to us, depending on how the opponent wants to play. I think that's where they wanted to be, right? And I give them credit. Could Quinn make it to New York with 3 more performances like last week? No, I think this ship has sailed, in my opinion. Now, if he goes out there and he has 15 touchdowns, like that'd be what, 15 touchdowns, and he has a big game against A&M. I just think he missed way too much time, and then also the numbers that Arch put up while he was in there as well, and the struggles. I just think that ship has sailed. I'm not really worried about that anymore, though. That was something for us to be worried about last month. Like I said, if he had played Mississippi State game and played a lot of those games he had missed to keep up with like Dylan Gabriel, right? With now, I mean, the Heisman race to me is JT from Boise State. I have Travis Hunter number 1, but I have JT from Boise State and Dylan Gabriel from Oregon. I mean, I don't think this is a very long list of Heisman guys. Cam Ward was leading. That was a tough loss they had against Georgia Tech. I mean, Cam Ward probably will hang around because of his numbers, but I don't even see him winning. So it's hard. Guys like Curtis Rourke at Indiana who have been outstanding, and Curtis Rourke missed time as well, but he has better numbers than Quinn, and his team's also undefeated. Yeah, I think right now it's just can we get a consistent version of Quinn for us? I think this is more about for that. Now, what I do think could improve, just to add on to your question, I do think his NFL stock can improve if he shows that, hey, I clearly was not healthy for that 4 to 6 week stretch. And after that second bye week, I was back to myself, and it was the same guy that you guys saw in the Michigan game. I do think he can salvage the draft stock stuff right now. Because right now, if the draft was next week, he's not a first round pick. I'm just being honest. Last week was not enough. You blowing up the backups on Florida is not enough. We got to keep it a buck as well. I mean, dudes were out wide open. We played backups last week, and you did what you were supposed to do. Quinn, we need to see it. These next few weeks, this game on the road, Quinn plays well on the road, historically. His struggles have more so been at home. If we're being candid, Quinn plays well on the road, but Kentucky defensive line. I know Kentucky's not very good right now, but their defensive line is. That will be a test for us. And then obviously the Texas A&M defensive line, Shamar Turner, Shamar Stewart, uh, uh, Nick Gordon, all those guys. Regis. They got a whole group that will be tested. That's where we want to see what Quinn looks like. But in terms of the postseason accolades, I think that ship has sailed. Y'all let Mac just talk his stuff. Yeah, I mean, the Jaquindon thing is a journey, man. I mean, also that dude was in a completely different part of his life at the time. I mean, he was in a 2 quarterback class. He left when we had a coordinator change because if you remember, Jaquindon was really more of and somebody in the comments correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I recall this correctly off the top of my head. He was a Tim Beck guy, and then when we also got to remember when Tim Beck left, and who was that came in here? Old boy that went to Penn State that just got let go. I always forget his name. What was it, Mike? What was the last coordinator name after Tim Beck? Yursich, Mike Yursich. I don't know where my mind was going. Yeah, when Yursich came, and obviously he was looking to do something different. COVID played into the stuff and all that other nonsense. That's when Yursich went and got Quinn Ewers, right? Remember we had originally had Jalen Milroe committed before that. So the quarterback line really changed after that. He was here in the Hudson Card class. He's also recovering from the knee injury that happened in I think it was the Rockwall playoff game before they went to state. So he was, I don't know, he was just in a different space back then. And when you go and he transferred to Utah, um, Ty Jordan, may he rest in peace, and that whole situation happens, and he didn't get in the Rose Bowl when the QB got hurt, and he was clearly third string, and we were like, man, what the hell's going on? I think he had needed all of that in his life to get to the realization of like, if I want to keep playing football, like I got to do something else. I got to try something else, either transfer schools or change positions. I don't remember. People forget like Jaquindon has been on a journey. He graduated from Utah, by the way. Like he is on his either graduate journey now or something at Arkansas. He got a degree from Utah. He was there for a while before that whole situation turned over. Then he had to learn how to play running back and change his body. So I give the brother. I mean, it's been a lot for him. It's been a lot for him. This Arkansas game scares me. Tell me why I shouldn't be. Arkansas is not a very good football team right now. At the end of the day, playing football 4 quarters, you're right now. What you're scared of is the jersey and the stadium and the atmosphere. That's what you're scared of. But on tape, even they have good players. They have some good athletes, and I like Coach Petrino. But this is a team that went and lost to Oklahoma State, man. Oklahoma State is sorry as hell. They lost to Oklahoma State when they were healthy. Now, if you go down there and shit the bed and start succumbing to the jersey and all that other crap, then yeah, you'll lose. That's why they got Tennessee. But nah, I'm not scared. I have no nerves about this game. I would be shocked if we lost. I know it's a rivalry game. I know how much they hate us. I know what happened in 2021. We are not remotely the same either program to that night. And the fact that we still have all those the continuity that we have from a staff perspective, as well as some of our senior leaders, I'm not worried about this game at all. This is about us, not them. This is a team and this is a team that will quit, by the way, because they showed some quit. They showed they were full of quit in the Ole Miss game. Go watch their secondary. The guy, you notice when you talk about Arkansas, you'll talk about the offensive athletes, the basketball players, even guys like Lucas Haas, the tight end, and then maybe like a Landon Jackson on defense. That's after that. The talent. I'm telling you, it goes off a cliff in that secondary. They're going to be like the Florida game last week. Only those guys are starters. They are not good. They got their ass whooped by LSU in Arkansas. When people were picking Arkansas, they're 5-4, and they're not playing their best ball. This is a team that, like I said, they lost to Oklahoma State. So they've they got some quit. They've got some quit in there on that team. Brandon Beatamo said 48-17 Texas. Yeah. LSU, thank you, Dan. LSU is Arkansas's rival as well. And they went in there at 9 went straight belt to ass. That game was not competitive. It's also matchups. Like, they're not good defending the pass. So just go in there and do you and play your game. It's not the first time since then we've gotten to hostile environments. And you know what they're going to try to do offensively. I'm going to get to John Tay in a second. I agree, CB. I think right now we have the most complete secondary in the irony of Extreme Gamer Max saying Texas tends to struggle in rivalry games when we beat the shit out of his team in a rivalry game this year is hilarious. Love you, Gamer Mac. Keep bringing that negativity. Texas best secondary in this. I agree, CB. I agree. And we've shown depth. Lost Derek Williams, man. Derek Williams was balling. It's going to be Travis. They have it. They don't like Shador for obvious reasons. I love Shador. I have no problem with Shador. They don't like Shador. I'm not going to get into that. The NFL, the people that matter like Shador, but the people that are voters and all that, they gonna bring up the Nebraska game or some bullshit and disqualify. Even though he is the best quarterback in the country, he's been the most consistent quarterback in the country. That team has he's galvanized that Colorado team around him. They're playing a really good ball right now. I would say he's playing either him. The only other person you could say is Dylan Gabriel. Right now, everybody else, the quarterback play has been a little this year in the nation. But Travis, what Travis is doing on both sides of the ball, playing 100+ snaps a game, I don't think a lot of people realize he doesn't participate in defensive meetings during the week. He doesn't have time. Between class, the fact that all these meetings are happening simultaneously because they only get a certain amount of hours every day, practices, for offensive install, he has to be there. Defensively, he's getting like the cliff notes of whatever the calls are. And he's just going out there and being a freaking athlete and balling. But the time that he puts in, his football IQ, his own personal film time and all that. He has a very unique routine and way that he prepares. He prepares like a pro already, but you have to be an extraordinary, not just athlete. It's the way you prepare your body. He played he plays at elevation. He went and played in Florida in the humidity. The kid doesn't even, you never see the kid tap it out. He's on the field every snap, and his physicality is improved. Um, as somebody that, if you've ever played football before, how can you not respect that? He's an Iron Man, and he's a top 10 player at both positions. Production wise, it's crazy. Yeah, Kentucky does have a couple dudes in their secondary as well, but they're not. South Carolina is doing what Kentucky was doing earlier in the year. South Carolina is the team you don't want to play right now. Watch, they about to whoop Missouri's ass and get them up out of there. But South Carolina is the team you don't want to mess around with. Yeah, Quinn right now, for him individually, obviously winning all those things, but um, he's got to show the NFL that, again, that 4 to 6 week stretch, didn't play good ball, directly related to the abdominal injury. The rest of the time, I look like a year 3 quarterback in Sark's offense and produced as such. As long as he can do that, Texas is going to go very, very far, and he will make a lot of money and get back somewhere in the first round, because they still like his arm. They still like his arm talent. A lot of those things. It's just that right now, can he be trusted behind a line? Can he be trusted mobility wise? And can he be trusted stay healthy? How do you feel about Jonte? So I've always liked him since high school time. Um, from afar, I got to see him in person from afar. I've never like met the kid. How are you doing? But from afar at camps and stuff, some of the Margin Hooks events, watching him interact, I love his competitive energy and nature. Jonte's a big fan of Jonte, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's a lot of that's what most receivers are like, and most receivers have to be like that mentally to be able to go out and win in space and play on an island and do what they do. So I have no problem with that. The way he was competing at the time when I was there against Evan Stewart and those guys like that, against those hook string guys. He was holding it down. He was a sophomore, junior in high school at that point, and Evan was already at Texas A&M, and he was giving it to him. So I think the disappointment of not playing as much as he thought he would play this year, and then then it spirals into, well, they recruited over me and they brought guys in. I actually thought he would still be a complementary piece and somebody that could help us. And the only real negative play he had on the field that I can recall was the Mississippi State drop. That was a bad drop, but guys, Xavier, where are these drop passes? We've had great players drop passes. Jordan Shipley dropped a ball just like that in the 2008 Texas Tech game that we lost. He wasn't the only person Blake Gideon wasn't the only person that sold out that night. Nobody ever talks about that drop. The Jordan Shipley drop was a touchdown that Colt threw, got hit in the freaking chest, and Jordan Shipley dropped a ball just like Jonte dropped that same pass against Mississippi State. But that's neither here nor there. Obviously, Jordan Shipley is one of the greatest receivers of all time in Texas history. But to say that you can't come back from one drop is why somebody transferred is crazy. Look, I'm gonna say this. I was a Jonte Cook fan. I'm rooting for Jonte. I like the kid. I don't know him, but something is up from the standpoint of quitting. And I don't care if they say it's mutual or whatever. To me, that's quitting. Even if it's like, yo, this ain't the spot for me, or I got to go somewhere where I'm showcased or featured. Bro, you're on a team that has an opportunity to win a natty, and you were on a team last year that had an opportunity to win a natty. So this isn't new. It's not like we just broke out. It's not like you came here thinking you were going to be the man on a 5-7 Texas team. That's not the case. When he came here, we're arching them. We've been good. The entire time that group has been here, Anthony Hill, that whole class, we've been good. Really good. I think since they've been here, we're 20-3 or something like that. So I just don't respect the parting ways mid-season because you never know what can happen. You never know what can happen. A couple guys go down, your ass has to play. And now the story's different. So I don't get how they can get to the point. I don't get it. Maybe one day we'll get more, but I just don't respect the quitting. That's just me. Call me a boomer or old school, whatever the fuck. I don't care. Like, I'm not with that. And I think at some point, like, brothers got to have accountability. Something you're doing in practice or something, it can't always be somebody else's fault. Sometimes you got to look in the mirror. Talking about playtime. DeAndre Moore didn't get no freaking playing time last year. I don't even know if DeAndre Moore caught a ball last year. But when I watched him on podcasts and talking to the big bros and the elders, he was just saying what last year was productive for me because I learned from guys like Jordan Whittington, guys like Xavier Worthy, guys like A.D. Mitchell. I judged the fruit on the tree of what they had. I have 3 big bros in front of me that just went to the league. I didn't lose just because I didn't play right away. And DeAndre Moore, where he came from in California, he had big expectations too. But there's nothing wrong with it. You got to take a little bit of time to incubate. And now he hasn't been perfect either. But it's an attitude thing. You got to have accountability at some point. What am I not doing that they're asking me to do? You don't get along with Coach Jackson. Are you trying to fit in or are you trying to be out? It's a good team. And I'm telling you guys right now, these conversations with personalities and kids, and this is not just the Jonte thing. This is why sometimes some guys just won't ever mesh in the same locker room together. Like that one year where people were like, let's get Xavier Worthy, Evan Stewart, and Jonte and all them in the locker room. There might have been a death match in there. I don't know. Now Jonte might go to Oregon next year and be up there with, let's say Evan comes back for one more year. I don't know. It's him, Evan, and DeCorian Moore. Look, go off. I still, as much as I'm mad about him quitting, I still want him to be successful. I want him to go to the league. I want him to fulfill his potential. But I don't want to see him at home watching Manny Muhammad strap up people with me. I want to see him on the field. And I wanted to see him in the Texas jersey, so it's disappointing. But that's my thoughts. For appreciate you asking. Let's see here. I gave a long I agree. I'm laughing because you're right. But the PR, hey, we come together. Oh. Yeah. Yeah. I have an idea of what you're talking about. I'm not going to say, but the whole mutual thing is to, because one thing I will always say is, if you really care about these kids, and it's not like obviously I'm a Texas fan. I'm a roofer. I'm a bleed orange whole bit. Hook up, right? I get it. But on some real life shit, like when you see these kids, like I've seen him in like around his family. I've seen him around his teammates. I want the best for the kid, especially these young brothers out of some of these situations. I want the best for these kids. I'm rooting for Decorian more where he goes to work. Just because you didn't pick my school doesn't mean it's a F you. Now, when you play my team, it's on site, right? But for your career, for what you want to accomplish, fulfilling your goals, I want that for you. That's why Sark and them, I've said this a million times on this channel, they do a great job of maintaining. They don't burn bridges with people. They really don't. You got to do some really jacked up stuff to like burn a bridge with Sark and this staff. They do it even if look, if you leave, we're going to help you find the right school, right program, and get some playing time, or maybe this is the better system for you, what have you. But that's also why they get a lot of love coming back their way in the portal as well, from places that they have previous relationships with, either kids they've recruited before in the past. We've seen that play out several times through Sark's tenure here at Texas. But we also have to be mindful of this. And please, like, y'all listen to me on this. I when you get to really know these kids, man, like I was sad when Ruben Owens, when I heard he got hurt. I was sad. I like that kid. I like that kid. I remember I had the one time I've ever talked to gotten a chance to talk to Bijan. One time I ever got to talk to Bijan. Our conversation was about Ruben Owens when he was visiting. And they were in the cars and stuff, and I got a chance to bump into them. And he talked about wanting the best for that kid, even though he didn't come to he ultimately didn't come to Texas. Somebody brought up Arch in that group, Arch, Jonte, CJ Baxter. A lot of these kids have goals outside of football they want to achieve. Decorian Moore attended the Black Athlete Summit for Nike. Like, some of the plans that young man has are bold, ambitious plans. So these are kids like that you learn what makes them tick, and it's just because they're not here. I still want the best for Jonte. Don't get that twisted. But this is funny though. This comment here, Beats will like their money back. Um, that is funny. What's up, Dodge? I hope not. That's why I talk about in season development. Jared Gibson playing last week. I know some people were like, after he fumbled the second time, oh man, get him up out. No, 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 no. We're gonna need it. All right. Now we could get in a game where it's like, damn, like the Georgia game, where the coaches are like, we don't trust the hammer, and they act like they did then, and maybe they didn't learn their lesson, or they won't try it. I would try it in terms of playing guys that have similar skill sets. In this case, Jared Gibson, from an interior standpoint. Now he can't do the stuff that CJ Baxter can do, where he can also line up five wide and do all the pass pro stuff and pass catching stuff and screen game stuff that CJ could just do all of that. No, but to me right now, what I can see, real rap Dodge, what I see messing us up is special teams. I need to see it. I need to see better punting. I need to see more consistent kicking. I need to see them not getting called for holding on kick returns. And I need Silas, who is about that life, not to have to show us every single time he's about that life. We don't need to be on a choose your own adventure every punt return. Sometimes it's okay to wait fair catch. But that's what I want to see. Because that shit's going to bite us in the ass in a championship game or a playoff game. Mark my words. Good vibes for tomorrow. Thank you for the donation, Longhorn Football Edits. Hook 'em, hook 'em, hook 'em. Good vibes for tomorrow. We need Sark to get revenge on Arkansas. Style points matter. Make sure you subscribe to Fanatic Perspective. Hook 'em. Man, thanks for the love. I appreciate this. You guys are awesome. You guys and you gals out here that want to talk ball with me and support this platform. I am very, very grateful. Very grateful. Hey, hey, it's all well and good until he does, right? I'm just saying we don't need to. It doesn't need to be. It's a little too cavalier for my blood. Q. Can you agree with me on that? Especially at his size, he's so small. I love the fact that he's fearless. I don't want that like, but it's like every single time, it's like we don't need to be on the edge of our seats, bro. There's nothing there for you right now. Oh gosh. Who y'all got winning tonight? Who y'all got winning tonight? Jake Paul? Y'all got Jake Paul minus 200 favorite? And will it be by knockout? Will it be by decision? Or will they draw? Let me know in the comments. What I hope does not happen. I was Tran and I had a very early morning text thread. What I hope does not happen, and Sports Fan Jack is kind of going there with the rigging, is they have that gentleman's handshake type crap that we kind of saw with the Roy Jones thing. The Roy Jones thing, we let that slide because they're both old, but they clearly decided that it was more of a aggressive sparring session to the body, no headshots, especially with no headgear, and they just really went hard to the body and really had a sparring session, right? Um, I I hope that they actually are allowed to fight. If they're allowed to fight, then we really are going to see if them training videos of Mike hitting the pads, if it really if he's hitting them as hard as I think he's hitting them, and still generating some of that power and timing, especially at his elder advanced age, it's difficult, but there's still to me at least a fundamental difference between the gap of timing and understand a fighter's instincts, just a pure fighter versus somebody that has took on the sport. And I'll give Jake a lot of credit. He does put a lot of time into the craft. I'm still questionable on just what the overall intentions are. And obviously, he's putting himself in a position to be a different type of fighter or boxer. But what does this mean for the sport? Like, if it's not a good product, if it's not entertaining, then how many times are they going to keep being able to grab our attention and bring it this way? And it's kind of sad because right now, boxing, there's so many good boxers in the world right now. I wish I had time to cover it more where I really wanted to go on this channel. I mean, the problem is a lot of guys right now that are like that are either international, they don't speak a whole lot of English, or they're with the wrong promotion teams and not getting the fights they're supposed to get. But there are fighting right now. The problem with boxing right now is not the boxers. They have guys that can be like Tank Davis is a star, American born. Terrence Crawford's a star, American born. Teofimo Lopez is a star, American born. David Benavidez is as good as anybody, especially once he gets his Canelo opportunity. Eventually, Canelo can't duck him forever. But I just look at is boxing just going to grow, morph into some sort of celebrity type thing? I don't know. I don't know. It's they've got the fighters. They need. I think the death of HBO boxing has really hurt the sport and the factions that have become. Um, yeah, boxing when done right, the sweet science is still one of one. MMA right now has their shit together in terms of promotion. People understand the belt system. People get title shots that are earned. Now, eventually, look, MMA is going to start to have some of the same problems eventually. They're already kind of starting to with not paying people and you know, like Francis Ngannou is arguably the best heavyweight MMA fighter. He's not in this, and he's not in the he's not in the UFC. He's doing his own thing, and he just put that big guy to sleep the other day. So eventually they'll evolve into that. But right now, yeah, it's a healthier product because they got everybody on the same sheet of music to where the fans are rewarded for the big fights. We had to wait even too long for Crawford Spence. Even too long for that post car accident Spence. So I mean, you go back and look. I mean, but boxing. If you look at the fights themselves, it's not the problem. Usyk versus Fury, fantastic fight. That was fun. That was fun. That was a really fun fight. I have like they got the guys there. But let's say two of the top five pound for pound guys, Beater Biev and Bivol, who just went after it, and Beater Biev defeated Bivol, but they're not Americans. And they fought in Saudi Arabia at like 3 o'clock in the morning. So nobody cared. Except for the diehards like me that are gonna wake up at 7 a.m. to watch NUA fight in Japan, who's like Manny Pacquiao on steroids, but nobody cares. That's where boxing is. They got the people, but I don't know how you promote it in 2024. They got killers in that sport. Um, Paul's gonna KO Tyson. Man, that'd be sad. That's what I don't want to see. I don't want to see Mike go out KO. Nah, no. That I don't want to see. Please, please, please. Yeah, the Logan Paul Mayweather fight, that was fixed. And what's funny is Floyd, the shot that Floyd hit Logan with, I know exactly what you're talking about. Logan was like 60 pounds heavier than Floyd. And Floyd was struggling to hold Logan up because he literally hit him with some shit. His legs were gone. And after that, Floyd was like, well, I really can't tag this guy. Like he does not have a boxing chin. Now Logan, credit to Logan, he's gone over to WWE, and he's a tremendous athlete for what they do and that sport and how they compete. I think that's where he belongs. Every time I watch him in WWE, I'm impressed with his athleticism and the way he's able to keep up with full time wrestlers. That's where he belongs. But when he fought the Floyd Mayweather thing, after Floyd hit him with that shot, Floyd like it was like, yo, if I hit him with anything else, I'm gonna lose money. So I just need to hold this guy up and take the pictures after the fight. This is now a glorified exhibition of, just wasn't entertaining. Wasn't entertaining. So I mean, I, I don't know if I want to be in business with the Pauls and them if that's what is always going to be the thing that people kind of point to is like, yo, this isn't, at least with WWE, what it is and how it's scripted. We've never had these things with boxing like this until this group of people came in here. And while they are bringing eyeballs and attention, it's also questioning the authenticity of the sport itself. So we'll see. All right, score predictions before we wrap up here. Score predictions for Texas, Arkansas tomorrow. What's the spread? Was it 18 and a half? Or was it way more than that? Go check out the Spurs game too. Forgot we're playing our NBA Cup game today. My son Wimby had 50 the other day. I know y'all saw that. Wimbenyama, baby. I didn't answer this question. I want it to be a real fight. I think we will be able to tell, especially those of us who have a trained eye for combat. I think we'll be able to tell, just like Benjamin mentioned earlier with the Logan Paul Floyd Mayweather fight. We could tell that was scripted for him to carry. I want it to be real. I think we're going to have something similar to that, where it's a carry situation. Don't be surprised if they do some dumb shit like a draw to try to get people back in there or something like that. I don't trust them. But I'm gonna watch. They got my attention. But thanks for the question. Sports fan Jack said 41-13 Texas. Quentin said 38-17 Texas. Which is interesting because those are like kind of like where our averages are. I mean, the points we don't even allow. We're allowing a lot lower points, but we score right at 38 points per game, or a little over 38 points per game. Yeah, the line is Texas minus 12.5. I thought it was actually more than that. So that's interesting. Texas 12.5. And then the other thing too, some of these other games that impact Texas, Tennessee at Georgia. Who do y'all got? Because that impacts obviously our road path. With us not being able to play Tennessee and Georgia already beating us. Who do y'all got in that game? Tennessee going to Georgia. I picked Georgia earlier today on Bleacher Report. I don't see Kirby losing back-to-back games. Definitely depends on if Nico plays. Why were you shocked about the 49 on Florida? They were pretty banged up, too. I mean, they've given it up. I'm just curious. It's funny you say that, too, because Georgia might be eliminated tomorrow, which is crazy. Pete Thamel said Nico's going to play. Okay. They're going to need his arm and his legs. He can't just be a game manager. As you saw, Jackson Dart laid on the line last week, right? He used his arm, his legs, came back, got hurt, came back, battled. You gotta make Georgia defend every blade of grass. So look at Milroe, how Milroe played against them. Jackson Dart played against them. You're gonna have to play at a high level quarterback play. You can't, because some of these Tennessee fans are under the impression that, and I get how good Dylan Sampson's been this year. They have an outstanding run game, very, very physical at the line of scrimmage. They've done a great job. Dylan Sampson racking up touchdowns like Monty Ball used to rack up at Wisconsin. But you can't go one-dimensional like that against Georgia. No, that's not going to work. And as good as Tennessee's defense is, and they're really, really good, they're not going to hold Georgia up to where it would make up the difference of Tennessee not having any production in the throw game or from the quarterback position at all. It wouldn't offset it enough, in my opinion. But that's my opinion. Anyway, this has been fun. I appreciate hanging out with you guys. Little Friday night live just to talk some ball, talk Tyson, Jake Paul, hit on a myriad of topics. You let me know in the comments. Make sure you hit the like button. I didn't say it earlier. Make sure you subscribe. The whole bit. Help the channel out. Feels like sometimes you guys watch the videos, but I don't get no love in return. Okay, I don't charge anybody. We just here to kick it. I'm just here for Nino and them said for the vibes. So, no, in all seriousness, though, I appreciate everybody. I will be back tomorrow for the post game show, Texas, Arkansas, and get my thoughts, see how we played, and go through it together. So, appreciate y'all. Have a good night tonight. We'll talk. Maybe if something crazy goes down, I pop back on here. We do a little post Tyson Jake Paul live. Can't rule that out either. But for the meantime, horns always up. Hook 'em.